Live. Hello. Welcome. I'm Pat Weiland, and I'm passionate about um, helping people love, 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 love what they do for a living. I'm a bit of a zealot, as you can hear, but I wasn't always that way. But now I help guide people to really figure out their why, to get to their what, and oh, I see, Tracy. So when you type it, it makes a sound. Sorry. And then it goes blank. So if you could mute yourself, that would be great. Um, so getting to your why. So what I would like to, I help people understand their why, to get to their what, and then figure out how they get there. So if you can hear me and see me, which when I started at 11 was not true, so I appreciate that, Tracy. Type into the chat box that you can hear me. Tell me who you are and where you're from. So the cool part about Webinar Jam is it's accessible using Google+. Great technology. The tough part about it is there's a 45-second delay, which means it will take a bit to get your responses. So if it takes a while, that means you have to you type in your questions sooner rather than later, and so you can get those answered. Let's see okay. So tell me who's in the room. I see Richard. Tracy's of course here. All right, so we still have that challenge of not seeing the chat. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start this, and as you have questions, please feel free to enter those into the chat area, and we'll answer as many questions because we'll go through the slides as quickly as works. So just a second. Stop. Screen share. No. I want to share this. Okay. So we have Frumi and we have Viveka from Santa Barbara. Frumi, as I think Orange County. Tracy, who's Austin, Texas. So what we'll do is we'll get started. Thank you. So at least Lynn from Chicago. Welcome everybody. Thank you so much for attending, and I appreciate you being here. I'm not sure if you heard my impassioned plea for everybody loving what they do for a living, but I am a zealot, and I do now guide people to really discover their why. Yeah, I mean, people know what you do. They ask, what do you do for a living? What do you do? And everybody has an answer. But the reality is, why you do it is what gets you up in the morning and what drives you to keep doing something after 10 years, because it's in your DNA. And I was not always driven to do what I do. In fact, I wasn't doing what I am doing now. I was actually in corporate. And I woke up one day walking into my office. Yes, I was awake, but I realized walking into my office 10 minutes late. Okay, so we have challenges. Let's see. Turn off my sound. I'm not really sure what you mean, Tracy, so perhaps you can help me figure that out. Does that make sense? Sorry about the technology challenge. So my story, it's not that interesting. However, it goes on where I was walking into my office late, 10 minutes late, dripping wet hair with a t-shirt and khakis on, and found a salesperson one of the sales team. And basically, she looked at me sideways. She was very patient, sipping her coffee, very well dressed, perfectly coiffed, and really truly looked at me sideways. And I have to say, I was embarrassed. I was embarrassed because no matter what she was going to ask me to do, I could do it. I'd been doing this for 20 years. I was really good at it. There was no problem that I could not solve because I knew my stuff. But my brand was not presenting that. So what I think is when you are writing your LinkedIn profile, it's not up to you to edit anything. You need to show everything that you can do and you're willing to do. So it's not for you to say, oh, you know, I know what I do. They should know it too. It's up to you to make it happen in a way, present yourself in a way that matches your brand. So what we're going to do is we're going to just kind of talk about the process of writing it. But think about this. At age 62 is the average age of retirement according to Social Security. So if you take your age, you subtract it from 62, you have many years in there. How are you going to wake up every day excited, right? How are you going to get energized? Unless you get that dream job, unless you get promoted, unless you promote yourself in a way where you are attracting the right people. So the Social Security office also says the maximum monthly Social Security paid out in 2013 is $2,533. If you can live on that, good on you. But otherwise, you better start promoting yourself so that you can build your finances and get more 401k, get more bonuses, you know, actually build your legacy. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk a little bit about the power of LinkedIn, talk about some of the nuts and bolts, talk about your brand, your story, some writing tips and pointers, and then a bonus daily point check, 10 points to do daily on LinkedIn to build your network. And every once in a while I need to check to make sure. Oh, echo, that's not good. So sometimes if you have a laptop, if you have a headset, sometimes that actually does go away. Oh, thank you, Tracy. So, all right, so the first thing, I have to figure out this technology, so I appreciate you guys waiting through this. So LinkedIn, the largest professional networking site. I'm sure you know it or you wouldn't be here. You're interested in or you wouldn't be here. 300 million users. We don't need to talk to 300 million, but we need to talk to more than our current local network, right? A little fast, a little on the draw there. Okay, so if you can see this, the power of this is I posted something and 156 people saw it. That inner circle is my group, is my first section network, right? The outer circle are people who saw it because the inner circle liked it, right? That's where the power of networking comes through LinkedIn. If you look at the bottom circle, I have 1,309 connections, and that translates to 14.5 million people. Since then, I added 2 people, and 12,200 people were added. So hey, Wendy Miles from New York, thanks for showing. I appreciate you being here. Okay, so that's the power. When you add 2 people, 12,000 people your reach is extended by 12,000 people. I'm sure that you know this because LinkedIn is powerful and it's not going away. So where do you start, right? So where does your eye go first? And this is from a graphic standpoint. Now my picture, I am so sick of it, but it doesn't matter because when I walk into a networking event, people recognize me. Does it need to be that big? No, I cropped down a picture from a whole shot with a really nice scene at the mission in Santa Barbara. It's gorgeous. And then I used my face. So people actually get to be familiar with me. We'll talk a little bit about the title, my name, big and bold, and then the title. So we'll talk a little bit about that in a minute. So your tagline, my logic is you want to tell them, my logic was I wanted to tell them that I was a coach. I'm not a coachy coach, touchy-feely coach, but I'm a nuts and bolts. I'm a performance coach. So what I wanted to include in that was, okay, so organizational, leadership, and business performance coach. But I also want them to know that I'm a bit of a science nerd. I love research. I love theory. I love all that stuff that nobody wants to bother to read. I love it. So I kind of figured out language, behavioral science, and group dynamics specialist. What does it mean? I just love how people interact with other people. I think it's fascinating. Okay, so first and foremost, when you are doing any change, you want to make sure that your security settings are off. Your security settings, you need to know them. Okay, so you go into the top arrow where your picture of your face is, right? And you bring it down, and it's okay. I'm also on chat, so or text. If you need a question answered, just text me. So anyway, so then you go down to the privacy settings, and you click on that, right? So you go to the next page, and there's one place, the bottom circle is where you start. I just didn't want to do a lot of slides to make it more cumbersome. But you start with turn off your activity broadcast, because you don't want people to think you have a new job when you don't really have a new job, but you're really just reforming your brand, right? So you take that, you turn that off, and then this box, activity broadcast box, will come up. There's a little check in there. You want to uncheck that box while making changes. So they really are going to see you for the first time when you're ready to unveil the entire picture. So get to know the security settings. Make sure that you are familiar with them, can find them, can change them easily, because what you want to make sure is that you are telling people and showing people what you want them to see. So before you get started writing, all right, so you have your activity broadcast off. Maybe you're not ready to post anything, but before you start writing, make sure you know what you want. Make sure it's future-based. Your history might be your history, but you want to make sure that whatever you're sharing with them is going to tell a story about the future. So who are you talking to? So think about a target market. In marketing, you think about, okay, who's my target market? What age group? What industry? What level? Perhaps they're at a specific tier, female, male. What is your target market? So kind of pick an ideal client and put them in front of you, and then begin to write as if they're standing in front of you. Picture the person, and then, what are you passionate about helping them do? What problem are you solving for them, right? And then identify the with them. What's in it for me? Well, actually for them, right? So you want to make sure that your style talks to that person. Is it casual? Is it t-shirts, wet hair, and khakis? Or is it more of an Oxford shirt that is crisp and clean? Or is it a suit? Or is it a bathing suit? Are you enthusiastic? Are you part of a call center? So you want to make sure that what you're writing is in a style that matches them. And then step back and look, what does your brand sound like? Because you want to make sure that you're writing in that voice. I want to make sure that I can see the, okay, great. So Here's my little thought process about your brand identity. So you start looking at what you can control and what you can't control. So your inherent talent is you. You can't control it, but you can grow it, right? So what are you really good at? So what have you done in the history? Your history you can't change. You can spin it. You can make it sound more important or less important, or highlight it, or let it disappear. And then your personality. So where does that fit in the mix? So this is what you've got. And then your dream or vision or where you're going should all form your brand identity. Right? So this is all very esoteric, and I'm sure some people could easily answer those questions. But if you have a bit of a challenge getting there, think through, okay, so what projects or work or aspects of your job are you excited about? Or you don't need prompting? Or you would actually dry your hair and come into work on time for? You know? Okay, think about a project that you loved doing. And then pull aspects of that forward. And this takes time, so it's not like you're going to do this on this call. But these slides will be available, and it will. So you can walk through these. So what is your secret weapon? Sometimes call it a superpower. What is your What is the one thing that people come to you for? Is it ideas? Is it a solution? Is it a pathway to a solution? Is it a system? Is it, people come to me because I can see what lights up their eyes. I can see what they love doing. So what assignments would you volunteer today for? And that is not good grammar, so don't follow that. But why would you do that? Why would you volunteer your time and energy to do something? What are you passionate about? So what value do you defend? What do you stand for? What do you find yourself defending in other people? What problem do people come to you to solve? So when I was, the wet hair, khakis wearing, t-shirt wearing girl, people would come to me to get my arms around big projects, complex projects, and make them happen, which, by the way, I loved. And it was fun to do that. And I would get really deep into it. And I loved the complexity. I loved getting processes in line. And I loved getting all the people lined up to make sure that it all happened. I was good at it. So could I go back and do that? Absolutely. Would I have to change my brand in that situation? Absolutely. Right? But when I start talking about it, then people can come to me and land on that and say, you know what, I have a big project. Or I need this team to work together, right? So if you're still wondering what it is, think back to being as a kid. First of all, what did you get in trouble for? I got in trouble for saying what wasn't supposed to be said. So clearly I say things that people don't necessarily want to hear. But also think about your favorite classes. Think about your favorite thing to do while you were by yourself. Think about what you would get lost in time doing, right? So, whether it's, playing house or whether it's playing, army, kind of a strategic approach, there's some information from all of that, what you spent time doing, that you can actually glean from. So I want to caution you, do not do a comparative. Because when I stand next to all the coaches in the world, am I the best? Probably not. Am I the worst? No. But that doesn't even help. Because what I do is so different from, say, for example, Tony Robbins. Because we're different. Do we bring out the best in you? Yes. But my style is much more corporate. My style is a little sassy, but more corporate. So, it's like helping people and you're comparing yourself to Mother Teresa. Probably a better example than Tony Robbins. So be very careful about your particular brand of helping. whatever it is, whatever problem you solve, be very careful about the comparative. Okay, so sorry about that. I have a little tricky finger there. So develop a tagline. I mean, you don't have to share this with anybody, because you think about these, think different. Apple, nothing runs like a deer. John Deere. And think about how you feel as I say these. Snap, crackle, pop. Kellogg's Rice Krispies. Just do it. Nike. Don't leave home without it. American Express. So one is innovative. One is fast. Next is perky. Just do it is like perseverance. Don't leave home without it is security. So what is your superpower? What is your offering? What do you give to the world? Right? Develop a little hook line for that. Mine is something to the effect of, I help guide people with their why, to really find out their why, to get to the how so they can do more of the what. That makes any sense? I'd love to hear that. All right. Okay, so writing points. Now this is a bit of an eye chart, but again, you will get this. And if you have questions, please, 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 please feel free to ask them. And if there's something that we need to go back to, that's great, no problem. I'm sure this is a lot of review for most people, but think through in terms of your brand and what you bring to the table. So writing your profile tips. Headlines are 56 characters or less, generally. There's no rule of thumb. And also rules are to be broken. So here's a guide. Break the rules if you want. But when you're writing your summary, make it short sentences. 23 words or less are easily done in one breath. Right? Don't make it hard for people to read your writing. So the first person, write it in first person, like they stopped by. It's a networking event. Think of your profile as sort of all the information that people get when they walk up to you, but a whole lot more in a networking event. And they're so much easier to do it on LinkedIn than they are to actually, walk into a networking event. Anyway, so write it in first person like they stopped by, and you want to offer them a cup of coffee. You want to welcome them. And then I repeated that. That's good, because it's so important. So use keywords in the summary and get technical in the list of skills. And I apologize if you can hear the dog. But use keywords and know what your keywords are. And if you need help, go on Google Analytics keywords suggestions. I think if you Google keyword suggestions, you can find a great list. So bullet point anything that might be easily consumed as a list, or more easily consumed as a list, right? So the C-shaped reading is when you look at something, you go across, but then you come back left and you go around, like in the shape of a C. So you're going to go down the left side and then down and over. It's actually the middle part gets lost. So you want to make sure that the top part of your paragraph is important and the closing part of your paragraph is important. Because that's what's read. That's what's remembered. And that's what you want to do, is be read and remembered. So utilize the skills area for searchable terms. My suggestion is don't lie unless lying is part of your brand. I don't know how you ever win doing that. Lose anything that tells a contraindicating story, like skills. Like if you don't want to be, a typist, to use something that's super old, don't put typing on there. If you don't want to do like Microsoft Office skills, I think you better have those, but you don't really want to be used for them unless you want to do Excel spreadsheets all day, right? So when you write, check the negativity factor. Is it as glowing as your Aunt Milda would talk about you, right? Make sure it's not negative, that it is, in fact, positive when you have not negative. So less is more. Make it consumable and skimmable so that they don't have to read it to get who you are. 10 recommendations, get recommendations, period. You get 10. Because if you've been in business for 20 years, you should be able to find 10 people that will say nice things about you. And then help them write it, right? Give them a suggestion of what's your skills that you want highlighted. So the word accessible should be another bullet point, but obviously that didn't happen. But be accessible. So when you look at your settings, make sure that your settings are that you are accessible. Include your social media access, where you are located, your website. Write personal info, should be personal info in the interests section. Make sure you have that interest section so people can actually get to know you before they talk to you. Contact information in the summary helps people who don't know you or who are not connected to you reach you. Email address that follows you. If you change your jobs and you use Disney.com, I don't have access to that, so now I need to make sure that I have an email that actually follows me. Put your phone number in there. People will call you. Not many, but they will. It makes it easier. Control the endorsements. Make sure that you have up to 50. So make sure that the ones that you want in there are in there, not the people are giving you endorsements for something that's strange and random and not part of your brand, right? Again, use your brand's language. Use language of the reader. So when you're talking to that person, if it matched their style, the ideal client or hiring manager, that's who you want to talk to in their language, right? Add videos, use links, there's portfolio section. There's a ton of really great features that change almost weekly. So it's really, really a powerful tool that you could actually use as your walking portfolio. You can use it as you actually sell to people or actually go and meet with hiring managers. You can pull that out and show them things you've done. But the most important thing is read what you wrote. The only way to write well is to read what you wrote. And read it out loud because that's how they hear it in their head, right? Okay. Let's see what we have in chat. Let's see. Okay, so go back to this. All right. We have any questions? I'm all for asking questions. Let's see. All right. I'm not used to hearing my voice talk this long. Anyway, longer. Here we go. The story you tell. I want you to be aware of the stories you tell yourself. Make sure I didn't miss a page. So you tell yourself, I haven't finished school. Well, you know what? You've done coursework. List it. So you could rate University of Wisconsin, Bachelor's of Science coursework, estimated. And if you're still in it, right? Estimated completion date could be 2020. But the fact that you're still going for it is a different story than I don't have an education, right? So I can't shake my administrative assistant history. So I'm passionate about developing processes and systems in the greatest success, the team, organization, project, or person. So your summary can negate something that a story that you are telling yourself that is holding you back. So just be careful of it, but be aware of it, right? So I don't have any paying clients yet. Well, I work with and then describe your ideal client. They don't have to know that the person doesn't have a name because I am passionate about whatever it is, fixing computer problems with, for people who are, doing good for the world, right? But talk about the reason behind your career change and the with them. What's in it for them? They really don't care about you. They care about what they So I think we went dead for a minute, but I think we're back. I hope we're back. Let's see, do we have people here? Okay, so basically what I want to do is keep going. And so I took a pay cut for this job to be a part of this company. So really leveraging this as a learning opportunity while I complete my degree, while I, change the oil in my car, while I, whatever, leveraging this as a learning opportunity is very different than I took a pay cut for this job to be part of this company. Do you know what I mean? It's like, okay, so you made a decision somewhere along the line to make that move. There had to have been a reason for it. Try and remember that reason, even though it's not as fun as you thought it might be. But leveraging this as a learning opportunity is very different language than I took a pay cut for this job to be part of this company, right? So be careful how you talk about things. So let's see. All right, let's get back to this. Okay, so the bonus, and now I don't see the actual chat windows, so I'll count on Tracy to keep us in line that way. So the bonus. So every day to go build your network, you want to make sure that you post something. Post it daily. So 20%, and I don't think I told you this, but 20% of your contacts will see your post in the feed. They'll see it in email. They'll see it in whether they get an email, whether they get, whether they get okay, so they'll either get in an email or they'll see it in the news section. But what you want to do is find the news section, and you can do the feed, and it gives you different choices, whether it's your contacts or whether it's news. Find an article and read at least part of it. Find something interesting to say about it and share it. Comment and add value. And share it with your entire group. Share it with groups if you have, right? So you want to answer emails promptly and then delete them. Get rid of them, right? Endorse someone for something. Because when you do that, they'll do that for you, right? Maybe not that same person, but eventually they'll start seeing you. Because, you're listed in the activities of Pat Weiland endorsed Tracy for great design work, right? Which is different than recommendations, but you want both. Okay, so triage the offers to link. Be picky. Don't just accept anyone. Are they in your target market? Do they serve you a purpose to you? Because this is your life, it isn't theirs. You don't have to be nice here. If they are somebody that you want to connect with, that will connect you to other people, do it. If not, ask them what they were thinking. Ask them, hi, how do I know you? What would you, what were you thinking when you wanted to connect with me? What made you want to connect with me, right? So do they connect you to people you want to meet? Okay, number 5, connect with people who have work you want. So connect with people who will get you to the people who will have work you want, right? Be strategic is the point. Narrow your feed to contacts and make sure you respond to at least one with a thoughtful reaction to their post. Do that daily because people like to know that their posts are being read. And when you get a response on your post, you're going to know exactly how cool that feels when you do it for somebody else. So number 7, add 5 connections from the You May Know These People, which is the daily maximum for the free LinkedIn version. Number 8, post in your groups. Identify three of your groups that really have your target market and become active, aka visible. But that news article, share that with one of your 3 groups. Share it with all 3 of your groups. Ask a question. Get people talking. They will see you in that group, and they'll see you as active, and your value will increase as as you get more active, right? Sorry, I was just checking the chat, and I like things. So here's a suggestion. Anna from Book Yourself Solid uses this script. Thank you so much for your invitation to connect via LinkedIn. I noticed that you are also ... I'd love to know what attracted you to send me a LinkedIn request. You know, that's a really soft, nice way to say, you know, what were you thinking? Of course, thank you, Tracy, for your suggestion. That's really helpful. And then use your standard signature block. Use your name, Pat, as opposed to Patricia. You know, if you want people to be comfortable with you, start being there. And then put your phone number in there, too, if you want them to call you. All right, so back to the list. Add 5 connections. Post in your groups. Reach out to newly connected people. So you can actually go into your contacts, and there's a section, there's a button to push where you say the newly connected people. Thank them. Send an email thanking them for connecting, and then ask them if they would like to have a virtual cup of coffee or meet face-to-face, and build your network. So number 10, pay it forward. Write a recommendation for someone that you've worked with. People need to know that they're doing a good job, but it's also really a great way to connect with somebody that you think highly of, right? So questions on this? Let's see, what do we have? All right, so Tracy, I'm sure you'll keep me honest. All right, so this is us. We've gone through the information, and where is that? Sorry about that. I'm trying to figure out where do I find the chat? All right, so thank you. If you have questions, I'll stick around. I want you to know that there's we have more programs coming up. It's upcoming Promote Yourself Now programs. Developing your professional brand is a one-day face-to-face. It's a full day of working through your why, really going deep on your why, and then you'll come away from that day with a you know, an elevator speech of sorts. I don't really like that language, but it'll be natural, and you'll really be able to figure out where your passion lies. The second one is a brand overhaul plan. It's a 4-week virtual intensive. We meet a couple times a week on the phone, and we walk through the process of not only discovering your why, figuring out your how and your what, but also creating a plan to get there. And then a new program that I'm creating is speaking skills for video, because we all need video on your LinkedIn. If you have video, you're going to have a greater familiarity factor. So we're going to do a one day where you come away with a video that you can post that day. All right, so Tracy, are there other questions? What questions do we have? So we have about 15 minutes, and as I wait for questions, the one thing I have is, does somebody want to walk through their profile and ask questions about what to do with their profile or their summary? Not really sure how we'll do that. Maybe I can share rewriting it on the rewriting on Word so everyone can see. So I'm just going to wait a few minutes for questions, or So technically, how would we do that? Oh, I see. It's a 2-minute delay. That's even scarier, isn't it? Okay. So one question I have is, do you suggest adding your resume to your profile? You know what's interesting is if you do your profile right, your profile has more information than your resume. If there's additional information, um, so I'm sorry, I'm distracted by the chat. So your resume is, unless you do a PDF, which could be more easily downloadable, but you can actually take the information from the LinkedIn, or you could, maybe they've changed this, and put it into a PDF form, right? Okay, so how do we do that? How do we get to, let's see, if we can share, let's see, share. Okay, you have to tell me if you can see my slides, or my, ooh, tab, close to the right, or open close tabs. I am trying to figure out how to do this so that we can window. Let's see. LinkedIn. Oh, okay. Let's see, Lynn. You can use mine. Can you share your browser? I am bumbling my way to figure that out. And meanwhile, do you recommend integration Facebook with LinkedIn in you know, I think that if your Facebook it represents your brand, great. If you're partying with the, you know, the Pong beer, that kind of thing, if that's part of your brand, great. If it's not, then you want to keep them separate. But think I think Facebook, as an adult, it probably represents your brand pretty well, and it also shows your personal side a little bit, which I think is really important because your point of difference is really who you are and who you show up in your real life, right? Okay, so I was thinking, okay, so let me see, can I do this? If I show this, do people see this as the okay, how about this? Hi again, share. Okay, the difficult part about this is seeing both on both screens on mine. Okay, so let's do, so Lynn, I know you've been working on yours quite a bit. How about if we take a look at it and just tell you how great you are? Right? So you see that she's a first connection. And what we see immediately is Lynn's fantastic, beautiful picture. showing how friendly and open she is, and customer service operations leader, customer contact center operations, CRM design. You know a lot about Lynn right away. You haven't even read her summary, right? And one question I have for Lynn, is this forward facing? Is this what you want to do? Does this work to get the people that you want to be in service to? I love the picture behind you. Okay, so we'll endorse her. We don't need to go crazy. So Lynn Deagle is his customer management executive and contact center operations leader who builds world-class sales and service delivery organizations. That's a sentence. Also, it's not in first person. So if you said something to the effect of, "Hi, welcome, thank you for," or it doesn't even have to be trite. It can say, "Thank you for visiting my LinkedIn profile. I would like you to know that I am seeking opportunity." I think transparency rather than trying too hard works, but that might be more part of my brand. So customer service executive and contract center operations leader who builds world-class sales and service delivery organizations. You know, it's funny because Lynn and I have talked about this, and Lynn is a problem solver. Lynn can come in and take a situation that's broken. She can find systems, create processes, create compliance to the process, or systems to get compliance, and then get compliance. And in the customer service world, the call center world, which has a lot of moving parts and a lot of personalities and a lot of areas where things could go wrong. So it's interesting because I would make this stronger, because you are the problem solver and you love doing that. So I should probably look to see if you're cringing at my directness. But in looking at this, I want to make sure that you present yourself and your brand. Now, you want to make sure that your customer service persona is there, but you also want to make sure that they know that you can come in and solve problems. Oh, very good. So Lynn is telling us that the background pictures will be free for some time, to all for some time. Oh, sometime soon, but right now, that crazy great picture, I love that, is part of the premium service for which she pays, right? So what I would recommend is making it stronger, because you are a problem solver. You have enough experience to come in, see the problem, create the solutions, create the systems, and make things happen. Right? So is there somebody else? I'm not. Oh, good. Thank you, Lynn. I'm glad you're not cringing. But you have a good story to tell, and I think that the right company will be drawn to you when you fully show up as the powerhouse that you are. Right? So let's see. I want to make sure that we have 5 more minutes. For you guys, you have 7 more minutes because it's a 2-minute delay. So, Corrine, you want us to do yours? Sorry, my silence is weird, isn't it? I want you to know that the slides are already on SlideShare and available if you look at writing your LinkedIn profile, Pat Weiland or Patricia Weiland. So they are already available. And let's see. Let's go back to, you guys don't see the difference, but Lynn, I'd be happy to talk to you further online on that, further offline. Okay. So, Corrine, yes, we are already connected. And so you can actually beef up some of your skills in what you see immediately, because this shows up to anyone who knows you or doesn't know you. So they might be looking for sales director, they might be looking for POP, they might look for some sort of printing expert. But national sales director at Regency, we'll find that out almost immediately, won't we? But then if you see, let's see. So we go back to Lynn's customer service operations leader, customer contact center operations, CRM design. We know a lot about her and we haven't even gone in, right? So now we go to Corrine and we can really beef this up and talk about some of the things that you're really good at, like relationship building. You're looking, which might not fit here, but long-term relationship building, you are an expert in printing. So whatever it is that you will draw them into you without necessarily making sure that it's forward facing, where you want to go, right? So this is where you are. It's sort of static and it's pretty typical, right? Nothing wrong with that. You're not going to get dinged. We'll endorse you because well, I've worked with you. You actually sold to me, so I know you're good at what you do. But again, we can make it we can make it a lot stronger. Okay, so you're missing the opportunity of a someone should actually write your summary and figure out what it is you want people to know about you, right? What is your superpower? What do you bring to the table that other people don't? And quite frankly, the reason I did business with you is because I immediately liked and trusted you. You gave me the real scoop. You made me feel welcome at a trade show where it's awkward anyway. So people will buy you because they like and know you, like and trust you, and you help make that trust happen faster, but you also have a depth of knowledge in the industry. So that should be right here in the back, before the background, right? You want to make sure that you actually write the summary. Put some thought to it. And this is actually the area above the background is, in fact, our relationship, right? Our email exchange. So I'm not sure where to start with that, but I think that having a conversation will help and we can get that written. All right. So we are coming up on the end of the hour. What I want you to know is that this has been recorded and it will be on Google Plus immediately. And I will send the link to anybody who doesn't find it, but you actually should get an email within 12 hours that gives you the link to the webinar, and go to SlideShare. All right, and then so SlideShare, Pat Weiland, Patricia Weiland, and writing your LinkedIn profile. All right, that's it for me, and I will, Anna Marie, I'd be happy to have a conversation with you. And yes, the script from Anna, absolutely. What I will do is I will put together a one sheet on scripts, and you can actually, it won't happen quite as fast as the 12-hour, but by tomorrow you should have something, and then I'll email everyone who's on the list who is here today with that script. So that'll be a separate email. All right. Thank you so much for coming. And if you have questions, please feel free to email me. Thank you.